Thank you, Chairman Blunt, and thank you, Dr. Collins, for testifying today, and all of you for testifying today. I've been involved as a volunteer with the American Cancer Society for many, many years in Mississippi, so I've seen firsthand how new treatments and therapies have transformed the prognosis for so many different types of cancers. And I'm grateful for the role that you have played, that NIH has played in so many of those discoveries. What you're all doing is so important, and I truly see it changing and saving lives, and I'm grateful to you for that. However, despite these recent innovations in cancer care, my state in Mississippi continues to have one of the highest cancer mortality rates of any state. For many Mississippians, receiving the cutting-edge treatments and participating in a clinical trial would mean traveling hundreds of miles from home to cancer center in another state, which isn't possible for so many of our patients. But Dr. Sharpless, how is the National Cancer Institute working to ensure that patients in states like mine, which do not have an NCI-designated cancer center, are able to participate in clinical trials and benefit from the newest discoveries?
Senator, thank you for the question. I think you raise a really important issue, which is that it's in some ways great news. We're making all this progress against cancer and having all these new therapies and new approaches. But if we then can't disseminate them into the broader community and implement those therapies in sort of the real world, then are we helping to people to the extent that we could do so? And so the National Cancer Institute is very concerned about how we assure that our advances translate beyond just the NCI-designated cancer centers, which are a great program, but they're only 70 of them, and their range is limited. One program we have to address this is called the National Community Oncology Research Program, or NCORE, which is 50 NCORE sites that then have each several satellite sites. So there's sort of 900 NCORE sites across the country, and they reach, between the cancer centers and NCORE, we reach virtually, the entire country. These sites, in addition to being able to do clinical trials, also have catchment areas that have patients that are more likely to be rural patients as opposed to urban patients, and more likely to be underserved minorities. So it's a way that we can enroll a demographic that looks more like the United States in general. So it's a great program. We've just decided to expand its scope somewhat so that we can, it's successful, and we want to build on that. And it's also, important to note that we can do clinical trials in the NCORE program. For example, the NCI Match trial enrolled 6,000 patients at 1,100 sites. It was the fastest accruing trial in the history of the National Cancer Institute, and it allowed us to do accrual in the community, which is also a real need in cancer research because 5% of adult oncology patients go on clinical trials. That number needs to be higher, and we need to take the trials to them through like the NCORE program. So it's one way that we're working to address this important issue.
Wonderful. Very good. And also, I'm proud that the University of Mississippi Medical Center and the Jackson-Hinds Comprehensive Health Center were both chosen as sites in the All of Us research program in Mississippi. This program, which seeks to enroll 1 million American volunteers, will no doubt lead to important discoveries that will help doctors identify treatments and personalize to patients' lifestyles, individuals, environments, and genetic biology. Jackson-Hinds was only one of only 6 community health centers nationwide chosen to help pilot the project beginning in 2016. Dr. Collins, as the NIH rolls this program out nationwide this year, how have you incorporated lessons learned through the pilot Jackson-Hinds that participated in this?
That's a great question. We did spend the last year in a pilot phase of ramping up all of us, recognizing this is probably one of the most ambitious projects that NIH has ever mounted, and we needed to have great attention paid to the needs of the participants, and particularly for their security and privacy. And we also made a commitment that this was going to be a project that was truly national, and it would include people who are traditionally not invited to take part. People in community health centers oftentimes have not been so engaged in research. We wanted to reach out, and Jackson-Hinds was in a particularly powerful place to be one of the first ones to try and see how this would go. I think we've been very encouraged. In the pilot project for all of us, we enrolled over 26,000 people. That makes it one of the biggest studies NIH has done in a long time, and that was just the pilot on the way to our million. And from the community health centers like Jackson-Hinds, we were gratified to hear a lot of interest on the part of people who came there for their medical care in getting engaged in this kind of research and being included. And they wanted to be counted too. They wanted the results of this study to be about them and therefore provide information that they could use. So I think it's been a wonderful experience. It's been a kind of outreach we haven't necessarily tried at quite this scale before. And now, as of May 6th, we've done the full launch, and anybody in the United States can join up, joinallofus.org. That's all you need to know.
Great. Well, we certainly appreciate it, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.